bring this.
You my bro.
I'll be honest, this is my first time doing anything like this. And so here I am, hence no introduction. I'm trying to discover a new part for myself. And the drone story came to me a couple of months ago when I saw how over in the UK there's an airbase there that my grandparents used to take me to, and I was just intrigued. We used to go and watch these F-15s take off, and it just seemed really incongruous that there were these drones in this restricted airspace. And then, of course, the stories started coming and coming and coming. And with those, the shaky camera footage and the blur and the conspiracy theories and so on. And my past career, I was a chemical engineer on an oil refinery, and my role was as an incident investigator. And as such, the responsibility was mine to kind of gather all the data, whether it was reliable or not, and use other measures to try and figure out what the truth was, as far as I could get it. And then the drones started appearing down the road. I'm from New Jersey. You might not be able to tell, obviously. But just down the road from where I helped found a makerspace, these drones started appearing, and the footage kind of improved. And I figured I could actually bring a little bit of clarity to that and use my expertise and maybe dispel a few of the conspiracy theories that are going around and hopefully not stir up too many more. So the drone stories, as far as I can tell, fit into three categories. There is the stuff that's just plain wrong. Somebody made a mistake. Venus, interestingly, gets picked out a lot. And as someone that enjoys a little bit of Mayan history and the Mayan calendar and so on, the appearance of Venus there obviously chimes with me a bit. But in addition, aircraft, other kind of very mundane things have been mistaken for drones, especially when you're filming it on your camera and your hands jiggling all over the place. Then there are the orbs. I'm not going to really talk much about the orbs because, again, most of what I've seen of the orbs is shaky camera footage. And then there's the third kind, courtesy of my brother from another mother over there, who is a competent drone operator. I learned quite a bit. Most of the drones that any ordinary person can lay their hands on typically fit in the palm of your hand. And yet I was seeing footage of really quite large things, and there have been several reports of things the size of cars, and that got me thinking. That's interesting. I mean, and looking at that, so where are we up to so far? Yeah, can we get the next slide, please, Douglas? This, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is a chart of the typical lights that regulated aircraft need to have. And so these drones were showing up without FAA regulated lighting. There was some pretty good footage, so I became intrigued and looked into it more and read a few more of the stories, and it became quite clear to me that drones of the size that we're talking about here are not things that a regular person can buy or operate, and they're flying around, they're in regulated airspace, and yet here we are chasing them with police helicopters, getting all these government stories, and they're all going, I don't know what this is, but yet we've got some fairly reliable footage now of these things, and if we get a chance to show the clip at the end, I'll maybe tap you for that one. So if I can have the first slide again, please. A few things came up to me. It's got to be an organisation running these things, and the footage I have for the end shows two, but quite often these things are appearing in groups, maybe 3, maybe 4, which implies that either they are using AI, and it might be a master-slave thing where a pilot is operating one and the others are operating with it, using AI, or it's individual. So this is clearly being operated by a well-funded organisation. And if you'll pardon profanity, how the fuck do we not know what is going on when there is an organisation doing this? Yeah, somebody is either incompetent or they're lying. And that is a fairly robust conclusion that I've drawn from this. Yeah, I mean, just to kind of balance that out, there are known operators of drones, people like FedEx, UPS and so on. Wouldn't they have said something if it was them? And why would they be operating? So I dismissed that and left with no answers. People recommending you shoot them, don't do that. It's firstly, most towns object to you discharging firearms inside city limits. Secondly, for anyone that knows about firearms, if you shoot a bullet, it's going to go somewhere. And that might end up in somebody's backyard, in somebody's wall, or in their body. So, or if you hit the drone and shoot it down, where is that going to go? So please don't shoot the drones down. So if we could have the last slide, if that isn't it already. Yeah. Key clues are for these drones is to be sure that it's not an aeroplane. If it doesn't have the FAA regulated lights on it, if it's not making a noise, and how big is it? Those are the kind of like the main messages that I want to take away. If you see something odd like that, and you want to be sure, oh, and also there's an app called Flight Radar 24. So if you see stuff and it's got the FAA lights on it, you can check. Most commercial aircraft are on there. You might find the helicopters out that fly up and down the Hudson and so on don't show up on flight radar. But generally speaking, if you see something weird and big and it's on flight radar, it's probably nothing to worry about. But if it's got odd coloured lights or flashing lights or the lights go out, that might be something kind of interesting. And you can, I don't know if that link will work at the back there. There's a video in that there. So what we'll see coming out over here.
What the fuck is that?
I love this video because you can see, you get a really clear set. That is quite close by, and those are very big, and there's two of them. That's the kind of thing that we don't have answers to right now. So there is something going on. I'm not going to go into aliens and spaceships because these, to me, if it's got flashing lights on it, it's probably human. I mean, random question, why would an alien need a flashlight to see in the dark? Just saying. And yet there is this stuff going on. It may just fade out. We may all forget about these stories in 6 months' time. There have been speculations about A, who's operating these things, and B, what are they doing? And something that size can carry a payload. What kind of payload? What is that there to do? And you don't have any answers. So speculation is at risk. And that's really my conclusion.
Thank you, Ian. I feel so much better now. Dang. No one's obligated to come up here and have answers. Questions are fine, especially if they're unsettling. It's welcome. And I'm sure there's a maiden response, or a Nokian response, if nothing else. Next.